online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, SVU fans. Welcome to the AfterBuzz After Show here for SVU. That's right, we're talking SVU. I'm going to say AfterBuzz and SVU a bunch more times. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. You need to make sure that you have subscribed on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV so you don't miss a single episode. Also, we're on iTunes and SoundCloud. Subscribe there as well. Tweet at us live during the show using the hashtag ABTVSVU. AFTERBUZZ. And tweet at me at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. I am joined by my lovely panel, my lovely ladies, Lauren Salaun.
Hello, guys. You guys can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun.
And that's Fofer, yes?
This is Fofer, yeah.
Okay, good. And Isabelle Do.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Isabelle Do, Instagram at Isabelle.do, and Snapchat is Isabelle Do. Every time.
Okay, before we start, because we forgot last week and this week we're going to make a lot of offensive jokes. Guys, we know that SVU topics are serious. These are very serious topics. And sometimes when things get really tough and uncomfortable, you have to make awful jokes about them, or at least we do. That's how we deal with things, and we don't want to offend anybody, so we give you a warning that that's what happens. Disclaimer: we will make off-color jokes. We apologize. We don't really apologize, but we don't want to offend you.
Yeah,
so
just get ready for
fair
it.
warning. Also, we have a hotline.
We do. The Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network hotline. It is 1-800-656-HOPE. That's 1-800-656-HOPE.
Excellent. Okay. Before we get into the case of the week, let's talk about Baby Benson. Because I was right.
I know, you were on. And I remember thinking, Yael's right. She was right. She was
But I'm
right.
glad you were right. It was such a cheap move to have that be the main promo. Like, come on, guys. Like, bait and switch. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you were right because I didn't want it to be a whole episode about that.
Well,
I don't right now. Maybe like down the road they kind of teased us
was a
with
little
it
bit
this
early.
time. I could see it happening a little later.
I couldn't believe I was right, because when I said it, I was like, that's what they do for reruns. I don't think they would do that. And then they just straight up did.
Lo and behold.
It was stupid.
It was the worst. Honestly, it made me angry.
I for sure, and we were talking about this while we were watching, I thought the blonde lady was, she was up
Miss
to
Chatty
something.
Cathy?
Like,
Yeah.
stop talking. Can't you see she's stressed?
But there are a lot of theories going on online that it was setting it up that lady's coming back to steal the baby or something.
Interesting. Well, but that baby Noah, he was at the top of the slide.
Yeah.
And she turns around, and then all of a sudden he's across the playground.
Yeah. So she also points out that he's not even 2, right?
Yeah, so how did he get over there?
And she's just letting him like run around on his own as like a 1.5-year-old at a park. Nuh-uh.
No, I also had the same thought. Like, I don't think
He's very mobile. He's not very mobile.
That's very surprising to me.
Yeah.
It was just weird. Anyway, excuse me. I read an article that said that the baby Noah thing at the beginning was literally just a tie-in to the conversation at the end with Dodds. And we'll talk about Dodds dealing with this case in a bit. But when Olivia says to him at the end, I totally wrote down the quote. She says, I wish someone had said that to me when I first started. Go home, talk to somebody you love, and don't make this job your whole life. I was like, oh, you're the Stabler now. Because Stabler used to, when there were cases with kids, he would always tell the other detectives, like, I'm just going to go home and tell my kids I love them.
Yeah. Who knows? It hit him in that right heart.
Right. I can see that.
So she's the new Stabler. I don't know how I feel about that.
I actually felt like she was just the new Craig.
Okay.
I just felt that way. Like she
is stepping into this
leadership
role. This leadership role, mentorship role. So that's neat. She's like the mama bear to all of them.
And I felt like they're trying to groom baby Dodds to be more almost a little bit Benson-like with his empathetic moments.
Oh, we'll get to Dodd's crap.
But I feel like they were too forced.
Yeah, let's jump into the case real quick. I like the main story. It'll be real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a missing girl. Her name is Lily. What does Lily like?
She likes
Cats and swimming.
And she's always singing and smiling around the house.
Yeah, she likes cats and swimming, though. Just in case they didn't know.
Cats and swimming.
Her
And
photo
all
has
the-
a cat.
All the pictures they show of her are either swimming or cat. Oh, I love it.
Okay, so she's recently been acting out. She's cutting class smoking, and she wants to go from a pool girl to a cool girl.
And she's got a new squad. too.
Okay,
How hip is SVU?
Yeah,
this
seriously.
episode with the cricket phone, with the prepaid cricket phone.
Great product placement.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Awful. I felt like this episode took us back to season 1, where they're like, I don't know where we're going with this show. Let's just give us a case to deal with.
Yeah.
It was a silly frickin' episode.
It was bad as a follow-up from the last Duggars episode.
was
'cause
so good
That
last
was
week.
so
Right.
and good.
Yeah.
And this one is like the complete opposite. I didn't like it at all.
Well, there were too many leads that they kept chasing, and it kept getting passed off to a different brother, a different brother, a different
Yeah.
brother. That it you know, that kept us guessing, and there were plenty of twists that way. But it was also
Yeah.
like, okay, come on, let's just dive into the case already, and like, you know, settle on something and go with it and get a little deeper.
Yeah.
I did feel like because they were leading us to so many different paths to distract us and be like, oh, look, it's a twist, it's a twist, it's a twist. But by doing that, they had so many holes in the case
yeah,
that if you were to take it to the trial, I
Yes.
don't think it would have worked out.
Yeah, we talked about that I would have loved to see Barba get his hands on this, because he would be like, what is this mess? I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
broke a bunch of laws.
He would have been like, Liv, rein in that new kid, Dodd. Like,
Not
tell him
just
to
it,
chill out.
all of them.
Yeah.
Everything.
Just real quick, back to the baby thing. Steven, who is tweeting at us and just joined the live feed for the
I
first
know,
time.
he's in chat right now too.
Excellent.
Yay.
He thinks that the baby events thing is foreshadowing something that might happen, and I think definitely people have said that. And
Yeah.
if it is, I really hope that obnoxious blonde lady's involved.
Yeah.
I hope so. Otherwise, that scene in the beginning was absolutely useless.
It was
It was
absolutely
too
Pointless.
long. It was so long.
so
but it was
long.
just such. It was to try and fake us out.
so
I
stupid.
feel like this episode should have been called like the fake out in the beginning, and then the entire rest of the episode.
Okay, so Lily's been sexting. I have air quotes on that for people listening. Diego.
Yes.
Two things. One, pictures of her in her bathing suit. She's a swimmer. Like, that has been not only
Right.
established that she's on the swim team, but she loves cats and swimming.
I know, and I love how Creasy's like, well, you could be held on child pornography.
I was like, that's no, you can't.
Yeah, you
I don't-
can't.
like, where does that line get crossed? Because I'm pretty sure in your little like one piece like this is not.
I think my
a
favorite.
sext.
It's one piece. It's a one piece.
I mean, there are like sexy one pieces, you know,
Yeah,
and
but
you
like-
can make that sexy,
yeah.
but that was not a sexy
No.
picture.
No, it was an American flag one piece.
It's kind of like her team requirement one piece. So Diego, who was, I think, dealing pot to Tau Omega, and I will talk about Tau Omega later. We also meet Friendzone Peter, that's what I'm calling him.
Friendzone
Who, like,
Peter. Aw.
comes in, they're like, oh, are you the boyfriend? He goes more like friendzone.
Bitter much?
I was like,
I wish.
so he did it then,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's usually how it turns out.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But they just, he was
We
pointless.
didn't see him at any other time.
No.
A lot of
That was
people
so
were
weird.
pointless in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping to see a little bit more of him.
And then, of course, the homeless guy who uses the debit card, which at that moment we knew it wasn't the homeless guy, right?
Right.
It's the one who uses the credit card is never the guy.
Yeah. He's like, I just found it.
It's
What?
always the homeless guy who finds it, and then they have to like backtrace from there, but they don't. And they find the body. But so, just a shout out to David Dean Botrell, who played Stan, the homeless man.
Yay.
Stan the homeless man.
Stan, the homeless man. David Dean Botrell, good guy. Also, he's a big sci-fi nerd, and you should check him out. That's all. Okay, so then we have to deal with, once we find the body, we're dealing with the familial DNA search, which is something we've seen before.
Well,
it's-
even last week, it was like,
Right.
it's related
Yeah.
to this person's DNA.
Yeah.
Who, blah, blah, blah.
And we've had that with Benson and her brother. That's how she found
That's
him.
right.
Familial DNA searches. So we find out it's a partial match.
We're still on this family theme.
Yeah.
a
And
lot of
it's
family.
a lot.
A lot of SVU family stuff going on.
Yeah. It's a close male relative, but not a brother, maybe a half brother. Like,
Right.
close male relative that's not a brother, cousin, uncle, right? Like, there are other things.
Other
options, but
relatives.
goodness, we had plenty of sons to work through in this episode. Gosh,
Yes.
good thing they didn't have to go into cousins or
A lot of
uncles.
baby mamas.
Well, so we met the first son who's adopted, then we meet his birth mother, who gets us to the man of the hour, Ray Marino. Round of applause for Ray
I know,
Marino
Ray,
swimmers.
getting around.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Okay, so he has 2 sons with his wife, George and Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie has been arrested for aggravated sexual assault. And then, and this is the part that made me so angry, at around the 30-minute mark of the episode, we have Robbie, and they have coerced him into confessing, right? He says, I want sleep. And they say, you can sleep as soon as you tell us the truth. She got into your van, right? And he goes, yes, she got into my van. I killed her. Like, that's coercion.
Yeah, he's
That was
just like
very
tired,
illegal.
wants to get out of there, so he's like, fine,
Yeah.
I'll go along with it, you know.
Right.
I liked that Carisi and Dodds are like having this little buddy time. Carisi's
Bro
kind of
time.
showing him the ropes
Sure.
of things, but they were heading obviously down a path that they shouldn't have been heading
Yeah.
down, but I did like their little like buddy time.
Well, at that moment, I went, great. Now we know what this episode is about. We're going to have a coercion case.
But see,
Interesting.
that's where I thought, okay, it wasn't about that, and that's where it was pointless again.
Yeah.
Another pointless moment in the episode.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tired at this point.
Well,
You're
I mean,
getting
it
tired,
all
too.
led up
Tired.
to, you know, showing how this was really affecting Dodds. You know, he was willing to kind of break all the rules and throw caution to the wind and do whatever it took to kind of figure this case out because it was affecting him so much. So that was a pretty consistent theme throughout, but and that was
Yes.
just another way to show it. But it also
We'll talk about Dodds.
it also like
It did feel like a Doddsy
Yeah.
episode. Like,
Yeah.
here, let's get to know him now.
But we didn't get to know him.
Well, I feel like it wasn't so much getting to know him. It was having these little moments with him and the victim and the
Yeah.
case, and just giving him these close-ups.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, you
We
can
hired this
That's-
actor. Let's look at his face.
That's Jessica in the chat says that too. She was hoping to get more backstory on Dodds and Daddy Dodds, and
Yeah.
you know was disappointed that
And
it just kind
possible
of we
little
didn't see
brother
anything.
Dodds.
Yeah, and little screw up brother Dodds or
Or little
missing
sister
sister,
Dodds.
dead sister Dodds.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Well, so let's get back to these brothers, George and Robbie. George is a lawyer, the worst lawyer ever, right? So he reveals that that if he told his brother if he ever got arrested, just say he was with him and he'll cover
Yeah.
for him.
He's like he blacks out sometimes and does crap. So it just like
And
you
he
know.
didn't even tell his brother Robbie, "Hey, don't talk unless you have a lawyer
yeah.
present." He didn't even
No,
say that.
Not just that, he threw him under the bus because he was like, yeah, he probably did it. And then didn't go be his lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But
he
I
forgot he
wonder-
was a lawyer.
I don't know if you would be, since they're both being questioned in that situation, I don't know what the rules are. If you're like, wait, I don't want to be here being questioned. I'm going to go help my brother out. See ya. You know,
No,
I
he
don't know
can't
if
do
you
that.
could
But
just...
they revealed that it couldn't have been him because they
Right,
had an
right.
alibi. So then he could go help his brother and be his lawyer.
True.
He was free to go. Anyway, especially...
But he didn't have to talk. Robbie didn't have
Right.
to talk. He'd be like, I need
my lawyer.
Yeah, I need my lawyer.
So then
That's
he'd
it.
have to wait till they cleared.
Robbie
Isn't
seemed
exactly
a little-
the brightest
little
one.
dumb.
Yeah. What did you think about Robbie?
Well, I didn't know if he... you put me on the spot.
Well, let me tell you what
was
I
like,
thought.
is there something going on here or not going on here? I'm like, or is he just really tired? I don't get Robbie or is it just a really thick
Just say
accent?
it.
What's happening? I just thought he was a little slow.
Yeah, so you pointed out
wasn't
they're
sure.
very different accents.
Yeah.
But also, like, it was very clear, like, oh, George is the good brother, and Robbie, oh, he's got a leather jacket. He's a bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
he
don't
is-
know, man. I just saw this girl.
I'm a stereotypical New York.
I'm a roadie, huh?
I like music. Okay.
I don't know why I have to do the hands when I talk
Got
like
Italian
that.
all of a sudden.
They're Italian. Ray Marino, they're Italian. Okay. See, guys, we're offensive here. So we get to go to City Island, which I don't know if you guys know. The City Island, real place in New York, obviously. And there's a movie called City Island, which stars, I forget his name. What's his name?
I'll look it up real
Thank
quick.
you. Andy Garcia. That's the name I'm looking
there we
for.
go.
I got it. Whew.
The Rizzos.
Usually review this. Yeah, it's a great, funny movie. Definitely check it out. The reason I'm plugging it is because when we got to George and Robbie's mom's house, I was like, oh my God, did they use the same house exterior?
No way.
They didn't. I looked it up. Whew, that's what I was doing while you guys were watching it. I was like, I gotta see this.
Oh, that would be good.
And no, it would have been so awesome, but it was a different street. That said, the streets all look the same. Okay, so then we get more information from Warner, who I love seeing.
I love seeing her. She's so... Her voice just calms me down.
Yeah,
She's just...
Although she, I think, had a cold during this episode.
You and me both, sister.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
She sounded like she had taken Dayquil, but was congested.
I just love her because she's so professional. She's just...
Very acute listening skills.
I know. I didn't hear that.
As someone who always sounds a little nasal, like she's congested, I notice when other people sound congested.
If you need to know what sounding congested sounds like, just listen to my voice right now.
Anyway, so she gives us more information that this the person we're looking for is the last son of Ray, and he's closer to 20 than 40. So we find out that there's a woman named Stella who had twins that are half brother and sister, a boy and a girl, to Robbie and George. And we then find out that the boy twin died. And then...
Also, really quick, even that was pointless, saying they were twins.
Right, we didn't need them.
You didn't need the other girl twin. Was it just to make it seem like, oh, he has more than one? He has more than just boys. There's a girl in there somewhere.
Or that he
Or
just
to add to the ridiculousness
number
of
of
how
kids.
many random children he
Yeah.
has and how many options that we might have to look into. They're like, oh, thank goodness, one of them's dead already. Don't have to test their DNA.
The first one, what a mess. Well, so at this point, right, we met the woman he had an affair with. We met his wife. The son passed us along to the other affair with the twins. And then the affair, Stella, passes us on to her best friend, Helen, who he also had an affair with. Yeah. I like that up until Helen, everyone was just like, yeah, let me give you the information you're asking for. Yeah, let me give you what you need to know. Yeah, I have half-brother twins. I had an affair with him, but he has these kids, and this is his number. Like...
Right.
Everyone's just passing it along. And then finally we get to a normal person, Helen, who has 3 boys, which we're pretty sure are Ray's. And she's like, I'm not going to answer your questions.
Yeah, but she's married.
Yeah.
So
when she doesn't want it, she is like...
Because then she would have to admit the fact that she cheated on her current husband. She would have to reveal that.
And one of her kids isn't one.
Yeah,
one of or all of them. As Dodds points out, they all look the same.
Ooh, well, the mom, they shared the mom. Although I would have loved to have seen that pan out, to see the husband be like, what? That's not my child?
We also thought it was going to be the youngest of the 3 boys.
Yeah.
Why did we think that?
Because I think they said first he was closer to 20 than 40.
And he was the youngest.
And also, out of all of them, he was a psychology major or psychologist or something to that effect. So I feel like someone who's doing this crime would have that mental capacity.
Interesting.
I don't know. That's my assumption.
Because then we met, so the boys were Mark, Gary, and Dan Jr. We met Gary, who's a beverage distributor.
Gary wasn't the brightest.
No, again, this guy, Ray, with all his babies out there, he's not making like real, like...
Genius babies.
Winners.
The first one's
real successful. The rest of them were kind of like, dirt. Sorry, that's just...
Yep, I agree.
Because the first one didn't know either of his parents.
Yeah.
So he was completely unaffected by his
nature
parents.
versus nurture. There we go.
Fair point. Yes. Okay, so we get the sobriety checkpoint, which was Finn's idea, and that's how we get the DNA. And then Gary confesses and leaves out something that we all very much noticed. I'm sure all of the SVU fans noticed. There is semen on her thigh.
How?
How did it get there?
Where they got the DNA from anyway.
It was also on her
fingernails too. Yeah.
My question
is... But even then, it's just like...
All caps in my notes. Where did the semen come from?
Yeah.
I wrote, how did the semen get on her?
I said, no mention of semen.
Yeah. The semen.
The semen. That's the question of the day.
We need to know.
This is what I love about SVU, is I can sit with 2 beautiful, intelligent ladies and shout about semen.
I don't know how many times we've said it in this
Pretty
entire
normal
episode.
Thursday for us, really.
Oh, SVU.
But I actually thought, oh my gosh, while waiting for his confession, that it was going to get more effed up.
Yeah.
You know, because he wasn't mentioning it, and then he talked about how she had no pulse. I was like, oh my gosh.
Get real creepy.
He did the worst. He did it afterwards. But then, even though I mentioned that, I was like, oh, then I took it there myself. Like, I'm a horrible person.
Here's the question, right? Because the story he gives us is he always sees her, he smiles at her. She never smiles back. He asks her to smile at him, which, as women, we've all had to deal with.
Right.
People who are going, why don't you smile?
Yeah.
And then he invites her into the van for a soda, and she gets in. Which, girl, if you're going from pool girl to cool girl, you don't get in the van with strangers.
No, that's kidnapped dead girl. Exactly. And how it happened.
So she gets in the van. He tries to kiss her. Okay.
And then she starts yelling.
And she starts yelling, and we were talking about, so what does he do? He puts his hand over her mouth, takes her into the back, and shakes her.
Which is what I feel like somebody who doesn't fully comprehend
Right.
things would do to like a baby or another human that can't, like, isn't that what happens in Of Mice and Men?
Yeah.
Right?
Where he, yeah, like squeezes.
Yeah,
He squeezed too hard.
because she's screaming and stuff, and several other situations. Where I'm like, or just be like, get the hell out of my van!
Stop screaming.
Stop screaming! Get out! I guess you don't like me. You know?
I think there's a lot of holes in that confession. I mean, because usually there's more to it.
Right, because there was no reason for any of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, her murder was an accident. Okay, so she hits her head on the ground when he's shaking her, and then she has no pulse.
Make a adult human, or I guess she's a teenager, be more quiet. I mean, the logic there, guys.
Stop shouting!
Yeah. Good, because this is relaxing me. This is calming me down.
But then, so the question is, when he means that he was shaking her, was he like
Shaking
like
her.
humping her?
Oh.
That's what I wonder. Like,
no.
if during this kiss, you know, it wasn't
Right.
just a kiss, or
Nobody uses shaking as a replacement for humping.
We're just trying to figure out.
Like,
How the semen got on her thigh.
but I like
So
that
wait,
you
but
tried.
did they? I'm forgetting. Did they match the DNA from her fingernails or from the semen to him?
It seems like it was they
Does it matter?
Well, I mean, I guess if
It's
they were, it
both
was just
him.
someone else's random semen.
because if it
No.
was
No. Oh, sorry, Diego. I wanted to say something about that.
Yes.
The way her mother says, "Oh, she wouldn't know someone like that." Her mother's racist, right? We all saw that. Her mother
I
went,
mean, he did.
"Oh,
he
he's
looks
not,
like older and like too cool for her
And-
nerdy cat-loving daughter.
and not white."
I know it was the we would never know that kind of folk.
Right.
We don't hang around those.
We don't
folks.
hang around with
who is
people who are not
that?
white.
Yeah, it did have that connotation.
It did have that "I'm racist" connotation.
Yeah, it did.
Oh my god. All right. So it's Gary. We have no way to know how his semen got on.
I
her.
really think Gary might possibly be autistic or has something because I don't know. I mean,
But here's the here's the question about
So
the
many
semen.
mysteries.
that was
what I-
offensive, wasn't it?
No, it was
No,
fine.
it's okay. We
Okay.
already warned them. It's going to be
Also,
offensive.
you can say autistic. That's a thing. So so did he hump her? Right, because he didn't rape her. That was clear from the beginning that
Yes,
he didn't
there
rape
was
her.
no rape,
there was
no
no
trauma
penetration anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
Great. So did he hump her, or did he, like, after she was dead, whip it out and, like, jerk off onto her?
Well, see, that's even worse. Or what if?
Out of his fear and nervousness, it just happened spontaneously. Is that how it works?
No.
Or what if it was
No.
prior to that and it was already on the blanket and then I don't know.
Oh.
And maybe
He, like, saw her, did it, then invited her into the van.
Oh.
That actually makes a lot more sense.
But I wish someone would freaking tell us.
like loop it back in.
I just don't understand what kind of cops don't ask.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
guys, you guys in the chat who are listening along, what do you think? Where did the semen come from?
How
What are
did the
your
semen
theories?
do it?
Because
Are they
This
not?
one's a
are they-
doozy.
how are they not talking about
they
it?
are. People agree that this episode was silly. Steven says that the funniest moment was when Finn was taking video during the
Yeah.
explanation.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Rollins gonna be mad she missed this.
Yeah.
That was definitely we got to slip Rollins in before somebody notices that she's not in the episode.
Right.
Same thing when they when they're like, oh, we got to call Barbara.
Yeah, which someone else called out too. They're like, is this the second episode? This was Hanan said, is this the second episode where they only mention Barbara because they don't actually bring him into the episode?
When
For
did
sure.
they mention Barbara?
They when Olivia was like, okay, let's time to call Barbara, when they figured after the questioning.
No, that was last week's episode.
No, it was for sure in this episode.
Yeah.
I forgot when it was, but
I didn't catch them saying Barbara, but I definitely caught the wrong thing.
Sorry.
I want to hear this.
Immaculate semen. I agree.
Immaculate
That's what I'm saying. It just happened in the fury of
Can
the
I
situation.
just say I'm disappointed in my chat roll? We've been talking about semen for like 20 minutes. And they're now jumping in?
Well, actually, fun, I mean, not to like get us totally off topic, but apparently BD Wong is coming back next week.
Predictions.
Oh, that's not a prediction.
No,
it's a
we'll get
truth.
to it in predictions. Okay. No.
Easy.
Calm
Jumping
down.
the gun. Immaculate predictions.
immaculate predictions.
Okay.
Hilarious.
All right, that's the episode, or that's the like case. Let's talk about Dodds, because
Okay.
we were like positive that this was going to be like I had a brother, blah blah blah. I had a sister.
It's leading up to it because they keep making these moments for him, and they keep having him. Because what did he say? He said, "Whatever you do, look after your little brother." While he was questioning Robbie and
George.
It's like, yeah,
George,
I bet
sorry.
your dad pulled you aside and told you that, you
Right.
know, your whole life. You have to look out for him.
Yes,
sort of
I
thing.
agree with you guys that was probably what that was, but we then should have gotten something. That said, I've said it before. I think we already have the put together older sibling and the F up younger sibling with Rollins and Kim.
they might do it
Rollins
again.
is that
Though.
put together for real.
Yeah, she's not.
Fair point. Fair point. She's got
They're
that
both.
gambling
She's like,
addiction.
she's
has
yeah.
a
like
baby.
the screw up that actually did something with her life.
Yeah, but she's
and-
still a screw up.
I mean,
She's working on it.
No.
She's working on
But
it.
you know, she's a little
Yeah.
like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, I pronounced his name right too, Hanan. And he said that before.
Great, thanks.
Actually, I don't know if it's a he or a she. Sorry. And that they mentioned Barbara before they questioned him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This Dodds thing, I felt like, do we remember where he came from?
What do you mean by where he came from?
So before he came to us,
When a man and a woman.
when Daddy Dodds and his wife, when
As in his career prior to this?
because he's a sergeant, right? So that means he's been promoted, he's trained, and he has experience. He's not like a uni, and it seems like when we found the body of Lily, he seemed like he was going to vomit.
He
in
seemed like
that
a
thing.
rookie.
Yeah, and then we were in the morgue, and he again had problems. And I wanted to know: did he not come from homicide? Did they not murder children in homicide? Like, I mean,
Well,
this
wouldn't murdered children
end up in SVU.
be SVU?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, this might tie in with something in the future.
Yeah. It just felt like he had never been around a dead body.
Right,
And I was
right.
like, did he come from Vice? Where you just deal with hookers? Like, I don't understand.
It did seem a little bit dramatic in those moments, and I am waiting for an explanation.
Absolutely.
But maybe it's to kind of get us prepped for his backstory.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because
Whatever
I bet
that may
they'll
be.
give us an episode that dives deeper into him because,
Right.
you know, he's the new kid on the
Yeah.
team. We gotta know, and we are seeing these things that raise more questions about like, well, is there a brother or was there a girlfriend or a sister
Yeah.
or something like that happened? So
But even for somebody who is experienced, the solutions he's offering, the way he's jumping in is so
Impulsive?
impulsive and very novice-like.
Yeah.
And it does make me question, what kind of experience did you have prior to this?
Well, Daddy just gave him
well,
promotions. Yeah.
somebody Laura in chat said, didn't he work for Vice? So
Okay. So that
could
might be it. That might
yeah.
make more sense. He's not used to bodies. What?
I don't know, it just sounds funny. He's not used to bodies.
Like dead bodies.
Yeah.
He's used to live ones.
Or organized crime. Someone else said.
Oh. Okay,
Who
so
knows?
all right. So he's not used to murder victims.
Yeah, less
Sure.
murder
All right, lame.
situation. But SVU is like kind of the roughest
Well, yeah, no.
squad to get put
which is
into,
why
too.
the fact that she wasn't assaulted, I was like, she's just a dead body with semen on it.
Just a
Calm
dead
down.
kid.
Yeah. I don't understand why you're freaking out. It's not like
likes
she was
cats and
brutally.
swimming.
It's not like she was brutally
We've
raped.
seen worse. We've
Okay.
seen worse, baby Dodd.
All right. Before we move on, because I have so much more I want to tell you guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We have how many people in the chat room?
13 watching right now. We have tons of people talking right now. A lot.
Thank you guys for
Yay,
being in the
awesome.
chat roll. Thank you everyone who's tweeting at us.
Thank you.
Welcome, Stephen. We appreciate you. Go for it.
Oh yeah, we've got a shout out to Allie, Dancer for Life 01 on Twitter, because you talk to us all the time and we love it. We love hearing what you think about the after show, the episode, making sure I've watched the episode, checking in every day. I'm like, no, not yet. I'm watching it today.
She's like, Lauren, have you watched
Lauren, get on it. You're gonna like it. So
thank you, Allie.
We love it. Keep it up.
I also have an iTunes review.
Yay.
Guys, if you love SVU as much as we do, and clearly we do, we spent 20 minutes talking about semen.
Mysterious semen. Not just any kind of semen.
We ask you to do a very simple thing for us. Go to iTunes, hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode, and leave us a rating and a review. If you like our show, which you better, it's 5 stars. If you don't, I don't know how you made it this long. That's 4 stars. The other stars do not work. Everyone, do not. Okay. I have some reviews to read. Connor Ryan Mom. I'm going to assume that 3 people use one account and they decided to name themselves that. Gave us 5 stars. Finally, SVU. Finally, a place where I can hear other SVU-obsessed people. I, too, know others who don't like Olivia. Fools. Who doesn't like Olivia?
Whoa.
Would love to have y'all go back and discuss some better Elliot episodes. Agreed. Keep up the good work. And can we please have more Liv and Tucker? Yummy. Hell yes to Liv and Tucker.
I'm always on and off, actually. There are days when I'm like, yes, I would love to see them together. And then other times when he's an absolute jerk, I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, I feel like they're both so, like, stone cold all the time.
They're so about the job.
You know, about the job. Like, we need to see them, like, get a little drunk together.
They would have some kinky sex. We have 2 other reviews that I don't know if we read, so I'm going to read them again if we, whatever. Horror Fan 24/7 gave us 5 stars. Love you guys. I just discovered you guys in the podcast.
Yay.
We're all girls, by the way. After listening to one podcast, I am hooked. Y'all are very in-depth and also make me laugh. Keep up the great work. It's Yael, not y'all. And
nice try.
Thanks. Also, Share 500 5 stars. I'm a huge fan. I love the team. Happy face. So, guys, if you leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, it does not have to be English. It does not have to be words. We will read it live on the air. That's what we do for you. As a thank you, where I'm looking for.
Guess no one's taken up on that different language thing yet.
Yeah. You know what's funny is when I said it, what I meant was like gibberish, like just pound on the keyboard, and you guys were like, write in a different language.
That's what I was saying, like in Google Translate, in Korean. And
Great. I will butcher it if that's what you want. Okay. I want to talk about the familial match thing because we've seen it before.
Right.
And I have an article that I'd like to read.
All right.
Fun fact.
Story time.
Literary hour.
Yeah, if I could get it to load, I would do that.
I mean, they did it with Noah, too.
Oh, right. That's how we found his...
His dad is...
Yeah.
If only this many people were actually in the DNA system and you could really link it.
Well,
I mean, DNA is awesome, but, you know, I mean, I don't think any of us, like, our DNA wouldn't be in any...
No, but a family member might be.
Right?
That's what it is.
Right. Oh, but isn't our fingerprints like through the DMV?
DNA, but that's not DNA.
That's not DNA. It's fingerprints.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god.
Good job.
Blonde moment, please. Can we scratch that?
Hanan just wrote in Arabic something that I can't read.
Oh, there we go. Here's your opportunity.
She said, "Read that." With a smiley face.
Is it on iTunes?
No, it's in the chat.
That doesn't count on iTunes.
Hanan, get it in the chat, and we'll
also
in iTunes.
I do love the effort, though.
I'm gonna be honest.
Cool.
My Arabic is pretty terrible, but it'll be fun to see me try it. Okay, so let's talk about familial matches. There's a lot of controversy about it because the familiar search sometimes used to help identify suspects who aren't on the record, but are a near match of a family member who is on record, right? So if your family member may have done a crime and your DNA is somewhere, they can connect you. At least 200 cases in the UK have been involved with familial match. That's such a hard word. Familial match method. But in the US, it's not widely used. And Warner even says that like it's not legal in California or in New York, but she did anyway. Like,
did she say it was illegal?
Like it's not. You can't use it in
invasion
court.
of privacy,
right?
In a sense, because you know, if you haven't committed a crime and there's no or don't have your DNA in the system, you would you feel like you kind
Well, we did talk about how there was a
privacy
lot
that
of
way.
illegally obtained evidence throughout this episode.
Yeah.
So
geez,
Texas, California, and Colorado are the only states that currently acknowledge using it, and Virginia authorized it in 2011. This article is from 2013, so things may have changed. Let me put that out there as well. Also, in California, it was credited with catching the Grim Sleeper in 2010 after serial killing suspects had evaded cops since 1985.
What?
Another notorious murder case involving 1960s era Boston Strangler was finally put to bed just last month in 2013 when Familial Dna match confirmed that Albert Desalvo was the killer. Desalvo was a suspect, but was never tried. He was convicted for other crimes and killed in prison.
Did it mention specifically how they were caught exactly with the familial DNA?
No, it didn't say which family member.
Man, can you imagine? You're like, damn, I could have. I mean, like they
It's
thought,
like, my damn brother.
I know,
yeah,
they
you're
thought-
like, what the heck? You blew my cover.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
Randy.
There was something I wanted to read. So sometimes researchers have found that cousins could be misidentified as siblings.
Interesting.
This type of mistake could cost investigators a lot of time and money, as well as intrude on innocent people's lives and privacies. Investigators may be interrogating immediate family members who have nothing to do with the crime.
Right.
Or the
Adopted
familial
brother,
search,
yeah.
could implicate a very distant relative. So distant that their relationship with the suspect will not be helpful to the investigation at all. So there's also ethical problems. The greater number of persons involved, the less likely that one of them is in fact the perpetrator. It also brings up accuracy issues. For instance, it's a fact that African Americans are disproportionately represented in the criminal justice system as well as in crime-fighting databases. This experiment, while the overall rate of false identification of unrelated individuals remains low, the rate of false positives of African Americans is much higher. Than other groups. So, an interesting article. Yes, it is from August 2013, so there's probably updated stuff. I just wanted to read a little bit about it.
That's so interesting.
I do wonder though if it's because it sounds like it's a relatively new method that I wonder if they haven't worked out all the kinks for it.
Right.
That's why it's not considered ethical just yet. But maybe in the future, once they figure out where it is more accurate, that that would be a more.
But with the intruding on people who may have nothing to do with it, who may that invades privacy, that is a very real issue.
And we saw that in this episode.
Yeah. And even from like a reputation standpoint, even if you're cleared of it and you have nothing to do with it and whatever, getting pulled in on something that and looped into this whole crime situation and questioning, that may not be good for someone's image.
Especially in this day and age where people can literally find out your address and just by a click of a button, they'll just spread it like wildfire before you can actually be judged properly.
I mean, also we saw in this episode, right, we had George and Robbie were brought in because the adopted boy's DNA was a familial match and his DNA was in the system, so they took the DNA from George and Robbie, right? So now their DNA would be, because it was tested, it goes into the system, doesn't it? That they were tested for this crime.
So.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. If you test it for a specific crime, does it then just like
I think that it stays in.
Stay in there, or what are the rules? Like,
So
like where
the
something,
reason-
if it's not admissible in court, or if there's
Right.
no good reason that they need to keep it on record, does it just get like tossed down
well,
the
that
trash?
first guy, the adopted guy, said he got in trouble for just jumping a turnstile.
Right.
For something as petty and as small
Well,
as
but
that.
he pleaded guilty,
Oh,
is what
that's
he
right.
said.
Yeah.
The thing is,
pled guilty.
yeah. The thing is, we see in other cases where people's DNA is found, their DNA is there because they, like, for example, someone's DNA will end up in the system because there was a voluntary, request for people to get their DNA tested for a crime.
Interesting.
And their DNA stays.
Well, and Hanan in the chat says that, don't you think that our DNA is going to be in a system, everyone's eventually one day, especially with people doing like Ancestry.com and stuff like that. Like, I think at some point, everyone's going to have to be at birth, put into the system somehow, which is kind of not cool.
We're headed towards a creepy time.
It's on the one hand, it is not a bad idea, but on the other hand, you should,
I mean, if you're not doing anything
guilty, that stuff.
If you're not doing anything wrong, then I don't think you should worry about it. My only worry about DNA is if they switch it,
right,
and that's where the trouble
But like,
starts.
also, if you're not doing anything wrong, and one day something, you do something, like jump a turnstile. You know what I mean? Like, you're in the system.
They left some hair behind. Who did it?
Yeah.
Pay
All right.
your ticket.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys was about Tau Omega, which we saw very quickly in the beginning of this episode, because Tau Omega happens to be one of my favorite fraternities on this show. Tau Omega is just like Hudson University. Two
Yes.
things that anytime they need a college, they bring it up, and it's awful. It's
Yeah.
always something awful. Hudson University, the school you never want to go to, and Tau Omega, the fraternity you never want to join.
No.
So Tau Omega, I believe the first time we met them was in one of my favorite episodes called Brotherhood, which is season 5, episode 12. It's the one where we find a body, obviously, and his fraternity brothers beat him because they were beating pledges. And Gary Cole is in it, and he plays the dad, and he
I kind of remember that.
he ends
Sounds
up
familiar.
defending the guy who killed his brother, or his son, and talks about how Brotherhood used to be a real thing. It's such a good episode. Anyway, also, I have a list of other times when Tau Omega was referenced. So in Melancholy Pursuit, that's this episode, Friending Emily, which is a child pornography one, and Girl Dishonored, which is the one you were thinking
Yeah,
about.
the gangbang one.
The gangbang one. In fact, Rollins says to Cragen that it's Tau Omega, and Cragen goes, that fraternity? This is the one where a woman pledging a sorority is raped at the college campus. It's the one where they made the green, red, and yellow, where they had the stoplight party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end, we find out about the girl who left the school and was in the insane asylum because they threatened to kick her out.
Right.
And then,
I remember that one. That was actually, wasn't that,
That was-
connected to, that was like a two-parter in a way. Like, as in it was connected to an old episode.
no.
The mental asylum, where the girl went to the mental asylum. I'm almost pretty
You're
sure.
mixing it up with the one with Natasha Lyonne, where she was in the asylum, and it was her uncle who was raping her. He came in and pretended to be.
Yeah.
You're mixing
okay.
those up. I mix those up all the time. So, Girl Dishonored is season 14, episode 20. If you guys want to go back and watch the Tau Omega episodes. And this is also the one where we see, I think for the first time, those pledge shirts that say Tau Omega, we don't take no for an answer, and it's the girl hogtied. Which, as awful as that is disgustingly funny. Like, it's awful.
That's just awful. Somebody was waiting.
Too much laughing.
Someone was waiting to write that.
I feel like one of the writers was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, how bad can we make
Yeah.
this?
It's not actually a real fraternity in real life.
I'm sure
is
there's
it?
a real
I'm sure
fraternity
there's a real
called
fraternity,
Tau Omega
yeah.
somewhere.
There's every...
You'd be surprised because there's some like pretend fraternities and sororities that actually don't really exist. So I kind of wonder if that was a real.
Interesting. You're looking it up.
Of
All right.
course I am.
While you look it up, it is time to head into predictions. There it is. That's correct.
I don't.
There isn't.
I don't think so. It doesn't
There
look like there's
isn't.
Alpha Tau Omega.
Because it would be slander.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah, they'd be like, hey guys.
I guess
back off.
because
would be slander.
sororities and
Usually
fraternities
it's
are 3
3.
letters.
Yeah.
There we go.
Smart. Okay, so next week we see it's the case that's haunted Benson her entire career, which I want to remind us, it's related to an episode called Manhattan Vigil in 2012.
14th season.
Right. So the thing is,
I should kind of watch a little bit of it to remind
so
myself.
yes, I'm gonna probably watch both.
Yeah.
Because I like SVU, so why not? But the episode from 2012, I remember it was one where we kept seeing flashbacks to a case from before, which I feel like, and I want someone to
There's
tell
gonna be
me.
another episode we have to watch.
No, but because that one didn't come from an actual episode. I
didn't.
think they legitimately, earlier on in the show, filmed scenes that they were planning to use later.
Actually, to be honest, I think I remember looking that up, and I need to double check this.
Yeah.
But I remember reading something where they CGI'd her face and everything.
That would make a lot more sense than my plan, because I don't think they think that far ahead. But I
Yeah.
think if I were to do a show like this, I would totally do that.
Like, just have a.
It was Olivia and Munch that they
Yes.
CGI'd from the
yeah,
past.
Right.
Like, have a day once a month where you just film random flashbacks or random scenes that you could potentially use
I mean,
in
just
later episodes.
literally having her
lottery of
open
scenes.
open
Yeah.
a file and be sad, like, or like put a file away. Like,
B-roll
yeah.
with the actual cast.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I bet they have so many outtakes that they could probably
I actually
pull from.
I thought originally that they had just taken clips from other episodes, but they didn't, because it was
Yeah.
all new stuff.
It was, I believe it was superimposed. I remember reading something about that.
You are required to find that
I'm
information.
gonna
right
double
now.
check on that for sure.
Because it really bothered me that we were in season 14 and they were bringing up a case that I didn't remember. And I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way I don't remember.
But I wish they would do something like that from the past, because that would be really cool if
Yeah.
they could just start that now.
Yeah.
Well, it says that the showrunner wanted Manhattan Vigil to have a lot of references to the show's first episode.
Right.
So, I don't know, watch like the
Watch the
pilot,
first
like
again?
the very first
We
episode?
did I don't know if you guys remember last season, we did a recap of the first episode.
Oh.
I believe Roy and I did it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You were not
I was
here.
not there yet.
Also, Tom Sizemore is back in his role, and he is confessing, or he confessed, but now he's claiming that he was framed. And yes, Dr. Wong returned.
I know. Oh my gosh, I love it. I hope
love
there's
him.
like everybody. Wong, Miranda, like
Who?
Barba. What did I say?
Miranda?
Oh no,
Warren.
Warner.
Oh, Miranda
Yeah.
Warner. That's
That-
funny.
Melinda, you mean, right?
Melinda. Yeah. Oh goodness.
You know what my favorite thing is? It's Melinda. Her middle initial is E. Her name is Emmy Warner, medical
Emmy.
examiner.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
They definitely did that on purpose.
Yep.
But I
And we
hope
get
it's
to
a
see
full
Barba.
house. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Munch, aside from maybe the flashbacks from the first part. But I doubt he'll be there, and I doubt Cragen will be there.
Let's secretly hope. You never know.
Oh, I would love to see them, but I
slip
doubt
them in
it.
there.
Any predictions about the case? No.
I don't.
If he was framed, because if I remember correctly, because I didn't watch the whole
So-
episode, it had to do something with the guy's real estate company. It was his dad or grandpa, right?
That does sound familiar.
It was,
With the housing.
yeah, with the housing, because
You looking it up?
Yeah. So the episode plot focuses on kidnapping of a young boy from the subway in Morning Heights,
Oh, I'm mixing up two episodes.
and that it echoes a similar kidnapping
With
in
the
the
Hector-
same neighborhood
Right.
from season
Yeah,
one.
with what's his name? The actor from The New Adventures of Old Christine, Linklater. Hamish Linklater. That's his name. I remember his name being special.
that's a pretty special name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like the parents and the kid.
Yes, the kid gets kidnapped.
On the subway, but the dad is they've been gentrifying that area.
Right.
Because his family owns that big real estate
Yeah.
company, and I believe and they had that the pretend cop, the rent-a-cop
Yes.
guy, who was figuring out all the cases, and
Right. And Munch used to pick on him.
Munch used to pick on him, and after every single missing kid, there was a fire.
Right.
So they were purposely, there was arson after these kidnappings, like they would...
To get rid of the evidence.
To get rid of the
I remember
body.
the episode now. Yeah, good job. Good job.
I know. Look at
Wow,
that.
I was
memory.
impressed. Oh my God, I had a yell moment.
Yeah,
See,
like,
that's what it's
connected.
like in my head all the time. This SVU episode. Good job.
But I feel... But you know what? I think I could see him being framed.
Really? I remember him confessing.
I feel like there could be a trick or something. Like there was some mistake gets unveiled that maybe they made during the
Sure.
case originally, and that can kind of lead us off the trail, or maybe feel like, oh no, he's right, he was being framed, but then ultimately not.
I just hope that it becomes interesting and it's not just a he said, she said.
I do hope that they do bring new evidence and there's like new bodies to be found.
Right. Like there's a
Well, I mean,
copycat maybe.
yeah.
Something to make it interesting. I'm worried that it's going to be a lot of
I do
Boring.
wonder why they bring it up again.
to give Barba something to do.
No, I mean as in terms of like why did all of a sudden that guy say I was framed? Like what
Right.
prompted him to all of a sudden in prison for him to be like I've been framed after all this time of me sitting in prison. Like what prompted him to say that? So I wonder what the opening story, the opening
Sure.
scenes
Do we know
lead
what
into it.
number episode this is going to be?
Off
Like
the
in
top of my
total?
head, I do. Oh no.
Okay, because I know the Manhattan Vigil was the 300th episode, which they kind of reworked because
I see.
Wolf noticed that it had a lot of parallels to the pilot episode. So they're like, okay, well, let's make this like a big, thing. And it ended up having like tons of like really good, a lot of references, but also really good response, you know, from audience and ratings and all that
So you think
stuff.
this might be a special number?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Or
Take it to
just,
the fans. Do the math, guys.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction.
Count them out.
Awesome.
Because the episodes stinked, they have to make up for it. That's what Hanan says. Or we just have been like too much family stuff. Let's get something juicy in there.
Well, I mean, last time, even though it was family, it was juicy, right? That's true. That was a great episode.
Yeah, I love that episode.
I'm torn because I like that we're going back to the way it should be, where like we're working a case. Here are the tracks that we follow.
It's like they're a little bit rusty. Maybe they've been out of touch of that format for a while, so they're like, oh shoot, we can't remember how we did this.
It's only been 17 seasons.
I do feel like they are playing with a few different formats for the show, you know, so and not the same one every day, every week.
Right.
I feel like because Rollins is out of the episode and Barba's been out of the episode, you don't have any real strong characters, and I feel like, even Ice-T, I feel, I keep calling him Ice-T. Finn, I feel like Finn's just the one big punch, the one-liner with always the punchline.
That's what he's always been.
So you don't have that strong character, and so I feel like they're trying to push Baby Dodds as that front runner for. This is going to be a character that you're going to love.
But no, I'll actually accept Carisi.
Yeah, I'm liking Carisi a lot more.
You have something you want to read from the
You
chat
have
room.
no other options right now. You have no other options, right?
Yeah.
Who else is out there right now?
Right.
Fair point.
Ariadne said next week's episode is number 375, and Laura surprisingly guessed very close to that. She's like, around the 372nd. Like, thanks, guys. 375. So that's not like a 400, but that is 375 is a nice solid number.
Sure. Yeah. You're just looking for something.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's significant at that point. But thank you for looking it up, you guys.
Yeah. We have great fans.
I know, they're very active. I love it.
Yeah, you guys are on fire today.
Yeah, SVU fans are the best. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I love talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And I think people will love talking to you throughout the week. Where can they find you, Isabelle?
They can find me on Twitter at Isabelle Do and Instagram at Isabelle.do and Snapchat Isabelle Do.
Lauren. And you guys can find me on Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram at Lauren Salaun. That's spelled Salaun.
And you can find me online at Yael.tv. That's Yael.tv. I also have started Snapchatting.
Yay!
Yeah, snap that.
Yeah, but mostly I use Twitter and Instagram at Yael Tygiel. That's YaelTygiel. And we will be back right here next week, Thursdays at 4 p.m. to talk SVU. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Dun, dun.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.